On the come up, better sit low. The product base, better drip though. Pocket fat when the chips low. AlexOCrypto, fit the party like a disco. Fan base like my wallet, yo. Stay true to the digital. AlexOCrypto. 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 What you know about juice? Making the moves, data flow casual, breaking the news. Revenue proof, a building portfolios taking well over exceptional gain. I'm chopping this game, so participation ain't a hard knock. I put in the work so you got knowledge. You ain't drawing with luck when you following us. The result is a pants full of fat pockets. Bada bang, that's an utter game with an auto flame. For a lot of hate, get about the lane, ain't about the trade. Have another trade, get another play. They playing God so pretentious. Grapes in these waters forbidden. Well indeed, that's a felony. Don't look at me for the TRB. Have you heard of TRB? I don't know. On the come up, better sit low. The product base, better drip though. Pocket fat when the chips low. AlexOCrypto, fit the party like a disco. Fan base like my wallet, yo. Stay true to the digital. AlexOCrypto, on the come up, better sit low. The product base, better drip though. Pocket fat when the chips low. AlexOCrypto, fit the party like a disco. Fan base like my wallet, yo. Stay true to the digital. AlexOCrypto. 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 AlexOCrypto.
Good afternoon, everybody. What's going on? Otter gang. How we all doing? Are we ready? Are we excited? Are we going to get some popcorn or are we going to take some trades today? What do you think? Let's see. Let's jump into the chat. Let's say good afternoon, everybody. How we all doing? How we all surviving? Are we all right? Oh my God, I gotta shut my blind. I can't see shit. 1 second here. Oh my God. It's beautiful. It's sunny. And it's blinding, baby. What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. There we go. Nice and dark in here. So we can hide the FOMC in the place to be. Well, we haven't gotten far since this morning, everybody. Thank you guys for the happy birthday wishes. You guys don't have to wish me happy birthday again. It's okay. It's pretty much over. I haven't taken any trades today. I guess I'm that guy today. I'm just that guy. That guy. FOMC. Fun days. Here hanging out. Hopefully everybody's having a beautiful day. Roll over this morning. This guy keeps blowing stuff up, man. I'm looking at golf stuff right now. I'm shopping. Do you guys want to go shopping? We can go shopping. Sorry about the, I was looking at maybe getting a rescue club because there's no rescuing my golf game, but we can try. Maybe we get some, a nice new wedge or something like that. You know, a nice new, I don't know, Jaws. That sounds cool, man. Any suggestions from my golfers out there? It's not going to fix my game. But I mean, it's my birthday. And I got a gift certificate. So why wouldn't I go golf shopping? We could maybe go shopping on the live stream. I mean, sometimes we go Ferrari shopping too. Ferrari Canada. What do they got for sale today? Maybe we can do some shopping while we wait here for the FOMC. You know, any suggestions out of the chat? Would Doge short, no trades? You're getting old. I'm over celebrating your birthday, Alex. Guy, I get it, man. I'm pretty done with it too. I mean, let's get back to trading, right? Right? So yeah. Sideways, right? Sideways. All ever since we came down this morning, right? So since the live stream, I mean, live stream ended right around here, and then we just continued to trickle a little bit more. If we're doing top-down analysis, what do we see, right? We got Bart Simpson in the house, man. Right back into the range. So for in the accumulation range again. Acceptance into a new range is typically rotation to the bottom of the range, right? Right? Rotation to the bottom of the range. This is typically how it goes, guys. I don't know about these golf clubs. What about a Ferrari? A Rari. We shouldn't get a new one. We should get pre-owned, right? Pre-owned Ferrari. Canada. Let's go Calgary. All right, let's go. I'll drive to Calgary for one. Let's see what we got for pre-owned in Calgary. Photos coming soon. Come on. Man, this is a house on wheels. Look at this shit. What the heck? Holy smokes. 430 Scuderia. I like the Scuderia. This is one of my favorite versions. That's sexy. I like the Scuderia. Roma. Ooh. No photos. What the hell? What else are we? Oh, here we go. The SF90. That's what I'm talking about. How could you buy a white Ferrari? You're so rich that you're buying a white Ferrari? You're some sort of wanker. 488 Spider? Oof, convertible? Oof. I don't know. For me, a Ferrari is not a convertible. It's got to be like the Batmobile. If we're not red, we're going to have to go black. I like this one. And get this one. Hey. This one's pretty sick. It's got a fat butt, too. Bye-bye. Can you smell the exhaust? Maybe we're going too far already. Guys, are we supposed to trade this right now? I got the video ready. Okay, we got the video ready. What else do we need here? We need economic calendar. All right. FOMC, we got the data, interest rate. It's not going to cut, guys. Sorry to surprise you. Corvette. I can't go Corvette, man. A ping wedge. I need a ping. Well, I could go for a wedge. I could go for like a new 60 degree. AOC live shopping channel. Let's go. Thank you for the birthday wishes, everybody. Oh, man. What's your favorite supercar? Ferrari. Lambo. McLaren. Claren. How do you spell that? I don't know. Let me know. You guys let me know, man. If you guys just had disposable cash, where would you be guys going, right? I like the Dodge Viper. Don't get me started on the American muscle, man. I like a 67 SS Chevelle or an 85 Lincoln Continental. 85 Lincoln Continental, baby. The total pimp juice, man. With the tire in the back all blacked out. All blacked out. Oh yeah. The town car or the Continental? Ooh, baby. The old boxy thing, you know? Yeah, like this. Like this. The one I drive you to your funeral in. Like that, man. Oh, man. Bullish follow through here. Could consider a long. I like a long today, guys. I'm feeling the long possibly. No trades right now. Showing the trades, taking the trades. AlexOCrypto here. Sideways. Consolidation here. I've literally taken no trades today. It's my birthday. I don't know why. I just don't like this. This has been absolutely shocking, mate. All right. What else do we got in here? Ferraris. $2 million for this? What's so special about this one? Does it have a... I like the 430. The 488's all right. Yeah. The 488's pretty sexy, man. I used to have a picture of a big 430 as a kid. As a kid, I always had a picture of a 430 on my wall. California. Not the Ferrari California, but I used to have this one, the 430 on my wall in red. How much is this one? 165. Yeah, pretty cool, man. We'd have to go 400 series. Anyways, we're not going to do it. We're not going to. My wife says I have to be worth over $10 million in order to buy a supercar. So don't worry, there'll be signs, guys. It's a lot of work to do so far. I'll be here for another 10 years. That's okay. Lotus, that's about my size of car. Supra. MK4, yeah. Hennessy Viper Edition, let's go. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Anybody in any trades right now? Put a 1 in the chat if you're long. Put a 2 in the chat if you're short. I like a push today. I like coming back for all the liquidity up into VWAP. Am I in the trade? No. But I do like the push today. Low vol. Waiting for Jerome Powell to talk. We have oil pumping like a madman because Trump just blowing things up. Okay. S&P bullish divergence still looking weak. Coming into today, we'll see. I mean, I might as well just extend this box all the way down to this one here and delete this one. This is all a gap. It was all a gap. I used to read Word Up magazine. All right, big roll over here. We had that break from this morning, but you can see here our cup and handle didn't cup and handle. It just continued down. Looks like we are trying to push here. I'm not in this trade. I should probably take this off my screen. I'm going to get people who just joined the channel all excited and stuff like that, which is not my intention. Bugatti. Porsche GT3 RS. I'm not a big Porsche fan. Porsche, as you guys say it in England. I don't know if you're from England. Long. A bunch of you guys long. Okay. I would be okay long from down here-ish, but not where we... You can't afford one unless you can afford 5. That's it, right? So if it costs... Yeah, that makes sense. Does that count for housing too, Sominator? Because I'm buying a house. I can't afford 5 of these houses. Costs more than a... You can feel my lung every day, bro. Let's go. 69 Chevy SS and 91 Mustang Cobra Top. I like the 88 5-liter Mustang a little bit better, Anton, but that's sick, sexy too, man. I like an 88 5-liter all blacked out Mustang. Bugatti Chiron, Pagani, Zonda, maybe a... I also really like the LFA. The LFA is pretty cool. Definitely cheaper to rent. This is true. Well, here we are, guys. Consolidation before FOMC, before Chair Powell comes out and drops some bombs. Should be a fun one. Mountain time is UTC. What? -7. -7, baby. All right. That's not true. -6. It's -6 because we shot forward 8. Yeah, so we got about half an hour here till we get our Fed interest rate decision. We had inflation up today. We have uptrending momentum right now. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a sweep first. Okay, uptrending momentum to the upside here. No trades today. I literally have not taken any trades today. It's been a big fat no today. I mean, no bueno. Waiting for the fireworks. I forgot my coffee. Oh shit. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to grab my coffee. It's on my kitchen counter. I'll be right back. All right. Looks like we are pushing here a little bit. Uptrending momentum. We'll do some top-down analysis and some macro analysis. Before I get really started and into it, if you're watching me, I always suggest you go and watch Tom Crown or Jason Casper. Tom Crown. He's kind of the OG of this. So he kind of started the FOMC hangout thingy over here. So I always like to Chair Powell. Let's go. And just go over here and like his video. Pay homage to the people who have, to the forefathers in front of me, you know. I ain't your FOMC guy. I'm the guy who clicks buttons during FOMC wildly like an absolute lunatic. But I have fun. But always pay respect to Tom Crown, because Tom Crown really kind of set the bar for the FOMC stream. So thank you, Tom, for all that you have done. Now that that's out of the way, let's get back to trading. So it looked longish here. I'm trying to push back, right? Like I think if we're looking at this in general, the liquidity is above us. VWAP's above us. An aggressive move down this morning. Obviously, shorts given in advance in the Discord from Kyle, and the head and shoulder warning from myself. So it played out. You know, sometimes it plays out, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, it does. A little bit of humble pie, a little bit of a, scare with the oil here, but oil has rotated back down here, coming back into our range high kind of deal. So we'll see if oil wants to cool off coming into this afternoon. SPY continuing to trickle down, just consolidating in this range here, pretty ugly so far. Same with our NASDAQ, and NASDAQ is just sideways and chop, as we can see in here, just a big old sideways chop fest. If we just draw this line here and this line here, that's where we've been hanging out, is just in here. So if this and that, the NASDAQ has been pretty good with directional bias so throughout this past couple of days, so it's been helpful. Just don't want to be married to that idea. After drops such as this, typically for me, I'm looking for it to be recovered, at least halfway, right? So if we're looking halfway, we probably look to come back up to the orb right now. How we get there is one thing. A little bit of patience is going to be key. Obviously, we have the data coming out. We have bounced. We have resistance. We go into macro analysis and just a general trading idea. We can see that like there's a multitude of things that are pointing that we're getting a little bit of exhaustion here, especially on like the 3 and the 4 hour here. We could see that coming into yesterday here. That, just really looking weak, right? Looking like we were overextended, and you can see that playing out over time as market cipher rolled over here in the afternoon yesterday. That's why the shorts were given, not just because of market cipher, but because of structure and the failure to make higher highs and higher lows. If you look at the structure, right, you could clearly see that buyers were failing to push price above the highs over and over again. You could see that here. As soon as we dropped down, we pushed up, we broke, but then you could see failure to make a higher high here, right? We got long here, but then we got short here, right, on the break. So just weakness, right? You can see the weakness, and you learn to see this, and then you get the ugliest symmetrical triangle pattern, whatever you want to call it, in here. And from there we dropped, right? So if this and that, it's an extremely volatile market right now, right? And we can see as you get like 70% full here, okay, and you get that last 30% of that triangle to fill up, that's typically where you have your decision made. Okay, and you can see how that's rolled over. Overextension, complex head and shoulders, right? Rotation down, leaving a lot of liquidity behind. Now, when we zoom out and take a look at our macro analysis, what we can understand is that very simply we are coming back and retesting the range highs. Okay, so when we pull the volume and we look in here, we can see that we have this big chunky volume here. Okay, big chunky volume to hold. Will it hold, right? Will it hold? Well, it's not for me to answer that for you. It's for me to prepare you to potentially trade it, right? If this and that. So if we get constructive bottoming structure down here today or into the next few days, we could potentially look to take this back up to maybe come back up into these highs here. We go swing high to swing low, and we would look for that retracement continuation possibly down, or for the larger macro time frame to be like, okay, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, right? Depending on how this thing wants to play. However, a lot of people trapped in their longs up here, and we're shorting. So that's a win for us. Okay, we're still accumulating, guys. I don't think we're out of the woods just yet. However, if we can get this war ended and, everybody sing kumbaya, I think there could be some potential for some hopium into April. But for now, the volatility is real. The VIX has been pretty high overall. Fast. It's still fast. It did drop yesterday, but it's still fast, guys. Okay, so be aware that volatility is real and choppiness is real. So we try to participate safely with good risk management over and over again. Okie dokie. So for FOMC, kind of how I'm preparing is I'm looking for what? I'm looking for the candle to decide, let's try and wreck the bulls and the bears, right? We're looking for this nasty candle. Up, down, all around, doesn't really matter, right? Doesn't really matter. And a little candle body, and then we're looking to see where we go after that. Okay, Darth Maul. Anybody? Right? So we'll see what we get. But right now, because of the drop, because of where we've come, we're looking for bottoming structure. We are looking for continuation and then possibly rejection. But I would look for this trade first and then rejection later. However, if he says something like, oh my God, we're never cutting rates again, and you guys can go F yourself, well then, you know exactly what's going to happen. Bye-bye. Okay? Bye-bye. Say bye to price action. And we'll be prepared for that as well. So if this, then that, always prepared. Prepared traders are profitable traders, right? So we'll see how how price materializes today, right? It's been, the short was the play this morning. Losing the orb short was the play. However, we are very overextended already. Now we're extremely overextended. So now potential return to the median of the day, which will be VWAP and the orb. So we'd be looking for a return into this area here, and then we'll see where we get to. Okay, it's only Wednesday. It is my birthday, so I do expect you to hit like button, subscribe if you're new. No, I don't. You can do whatever. Say good afternoon. That's all. Just say good afternoon. Don't be weird. And thank you for being here and supporting the channel. I do appreciate you guys. Okay, what's going on, Rashad? Good to see you, man. That's funny, Baldski, but she does love the Aston Martin DB as well. She likes that's actually my wife's favorite supercar. And she isn't even like a supercar. She doesn't even know half the supercars, but she does like the James Bond car. She says the James Bond car. That's it. USDT looking interesting. Sweet, man. Happy birth afternoon. Yeah. I don't know if I was born in the morning or the afternoon. I think I was born in the morning. Aston Martin Vulcan. It's just a problem with British engineering. It's the repair bills, man. I think one of my family members had like a cheap Land Rover. I think it's called the Freelander or something like that. Freeloader. And just to repair the back windows went. They always complained about this. This is why I know. The back windows went the machine that puts down the window. It's like $800 a side. It's like absolutely crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. R34 Skyline, yeah, that's it. That's kind of like bandwagoning, isn't the R34 I mean, want the RTT or the GTS V Mellow, right? It's for depreciables, definitely cheaper to rent. Yeah, let's go Pisces. Well, it looks like that long is playing out right now, guys. Good job. Congrats on your long. I think some of y'all took it. Y'all. GTR. Yeah. My dad owns a GTR. Let's go. I mean, we're all here. Let's be real. All of you guys, we're all here. Some of us less than others, but I mean, we're all here like in our Lambos. Come on, guys. Like we all in our Aventador cardboard, Let's be real. That's why we're here. We're here. Love that. Cheers, Mama Otter. Mama Otter knows, yeah. Mrs. Otter. I had a Land Rover and it was super nice, but sucked. So damn expensive to do any work. Yeah. Horrible turn radius. That wouldn't be good in roundabouts in London, mate. On your birthday, you savage legend of a national treasure. Unfortunately, yes, JR. On my birthday, bro. Called the long here. And look at this thing go. Here we go, baby. Pumping into the FOMC data. We're going to have that in 20 minutes. And then Chair Powell is going to speak. Let's see how good is the porno music today. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. How is it? Tell me you're feeling this. Fuck that. Oh, man. I should have taken that long, guys. I got the FOMO. The Fiat Punto. What about the Panda? Big recovery coming in here, guys. Order block retest now. Retest to previous highs. Continuation trade into here. Possibility. Nice push out here. Mitigation of the high. Now we look for 1, 2, 3 back. Generally. Market safe for pushing back in here. 12-minute looks okay. 24 bottoming out. Trying to push back. 1 hour here. Green dot confirmation. Just a very aggressive dump, right? So we got a new low in here. Yeah. High to low. All right, so let's extend this out here. Retest to previous lows, 786. See the 24. Yeah, that works there. Yep. Okay. I think this is 15-minute order block. Yeah, that's 15-minute order block. Continuation out here. Retest of previous highs. Breakout retest. Support and resistance level here. Yeah. Critical resistance level being flipped. I mean, if we wanted to split hairs, we can go from this high to this low here. We can look for resistance in here as well. That's really splitting hairs, guys. 15-minute high. Yeah. Okay. Orb high. Orb low. I prefer up here, but we'll see. We'll see where we get to. Breakout retest, order block retest. Block is down here. Thank you, everybody, for being on the live. 18 minutes till the party begins. I think, yeah. Pretty cool, man. So long from 90. I want a Hada Odyssey. That's it. Son's college paid for. Thank you for being here, Nishan, and the kind words, man. God bless you, bro. Bro, what's the plan? Buy or sell? We wait. We wait right now. We wait right now. No buy, no sell. Can I say I always wanted to drive the Gravedigger? I agree. I agree, Curbstar. Yeah, we are doing overtime, man. FOMC days is the only day we do overtime. We're here to hang out, take trades, help you navigate the charts. This is for, I mean, typically I'm here to try and protect my community as best as possible and have some fun. That's kind of it, man. So I try to remain patient here as much as possible. I think our job here is to be objective and see what happens. We are climbing into the data coming out. Obviously, we know there's no Fed rate cut or pause or anything like that. We got the jam here. All right. Economic calendar. We just expect forecast to be flat, right? Flat across the boards. Then it's all about what our good old friend Chair Powell says half an hour later. So we're going to get our info, and then we're going to wait, and then we'll see. Pumping into the press conference this morning. Big dump this morning. Push back on Solana here. Continuation up. Possibly. SPY just getting beaten up today. Very aggressive beat up. All the way down here. Oil skyrocketing after, I believe it was Iran's infrastructure attacked this morning. And then the NASDAQ just trickling down all day today. Trying to push back right now, the NASDAQ is. So we'll see if we do get a little bit of oomph back in here for continuation on Bitcoin and Solana. Looking okay right now. Okay. We shall see. I don't even like that there. Push up continuation. Big block here, so expect chop even back into here. Yeah, we wait. We wait. That's it. Doji engulfing continuation trade here. Order block, order block, order block. Previous day pivots. Wow, we got to go all the way back up to 73,000 for any of our pivots to be taken. That's wild. So we wait. Congratulations on your longs. I saw a bunch of y'all long. I think you're more swing long than a scalp long, though. So congratulations. GG's to you guys. Are you actually slurping the coffee like that? Yeah, man. Jason, Alex, Frankie. Yeah, I'm Ant-Man. I'm Ant-Man. I'm Ant-Man. Definitely Ant-Man. Crude oil will skyrocket to 150 USD soon. Stop trading on the 1 minute time frame. Tell my bank account that and my wife. Oh man. Tell my bank account that and my wife. Breakout retest continuation trade. Rotation down. SPY a little pushback here into FOMC. Same with the NAS. Looking okay. Looking okay. 1 minute time frame's too rough. That's why I trade the 3 minute time frame, Roth. Right? Give myself a couple more minutes, you know? My wife doesn't like when I only take 1 minute. 3 minutes is okay. Right? 3 strokes or 3 minutes? Oh, man. Thanks for being here, Roth. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day. 15 minutes good for general bias and structure. I do like the 15. I agree with that. That's cool, man. But we scalp, man. We scalp. Quick trades, in and out, like a good boy scout. That's it. No need to complicate it. Back-tested strategies been working for me quite well. As you can see, I have 12-minute and 12-minute for general bias here. Then I have my 3-minute and my 3-minute for general entries. I use a US 100 as confluence on the 3-minute for directional bias, along with the SPY with the gap. We gap down today. I'm also added oil recently just to keep an eye on the prize, okay? Because it's highly influenced right now by oil. As you can see, oil pumped today and we dumped today. So we're here live trading every morning, generally 8 a.m. till 10:15, making crypto honest again, showing the trades, taking the trades. Up nearly, started the account with 10K this week. We're up $2,959, showing you the trades, taking the trades, showing the account every morning. I withdrew $33,000 in profit from my account on Monday into the bank account and showed everybody that I took it off the exchange. I converted it to USDC, took it off the exchange, put it on the Canadian exchange. From the Canadian exchange, I sent it to my bank in Canadian dollars, okay? Not a lot of people doing that. A lot of people just showing you that they're in $10,000 positions and whatever. I can go and ask my exchange and get some fake ass money and trade in front of you, and it looks exactly the same. I'm telling you, I can go. I can ask my reps and I can say, hey man, you want to give me a fake account with 50K in it? And I can trade that in front of you. I cannot withdraw it though. I cannot, and I guarantee you there's people on the internet, I don't mention any names, but ask them to take off their money. Can't do it. They can't do it. And that's as far as I'll go with that, because I don't want to get in trouble. Chop at the top here, no trade. Looking for pullbacks back into the order block, waiting for the data to come out in 10 minutes. I mean, not that it's going to be a surprise, the data. We can buy some golf clubs though. What kind of wedges? I have SM10 Titleist wedges. I was thinking of trying some other wedges though. I want like a new 60. That would be cool. My 60 Cleveland wedges look nice. I heard Cleveland wedges are nice, but I play Titleist wedges right now. TaylorMade MG4s. Milled. High toe. It's not like camel toe, but good. I don't know. My golf friends need to help me out here. Stick with the Vokies. I love the Vokies, man. The Vokies are just, I feel like I'm like baby Jesus with the Vokies. Do they have SM10s though? Brand, Titleist. Do they have the old ones on sale? Yeah, $200 for the SM10s. Okay. Maybe we get a new wedge, a new 60 degree SM10. I like the Vokies, man. $300 for a wedge. That's crazy, man. Black Vapor. Alex, just give me your indicator and I won't make fun of you for being Canadian. I mean, the indicator told you to prepare for a long right here. Did a pretty good job, right? So as we were coming down here, it said prepare for a long, and then boom. Not bad. Mm-hmm. Rotation back down. We got 7 minutes here. Still waiting. No trade. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Mills are good. Taylor milled 5. Yeah. Alex, you think we go down or up long term? Depends on how we behave in the next 3 weeks. Okay. So the next 3 weeks, going into April, clarity bill, whole bunch of catalysts. Okay. Right. Do we get acceptance below here? Do we come back into this guy here? That is the question. If we come back into this guy here, we're probably coming for the lows. Okay, you're going to look for that distribution, right? Your manipulation above the range, right? So here's your range, here's your manipulation above it, and you'd be looking for the distribution below it. Generally. Quick and fast. However, if we hold above here, in general, if we hold in here, we could potentially push higher. Then we have the no-fly zone, which is really, the no-fly zone's really between, 85. It's pretty wide because there's very low volume in here and 78. So there's like this very big, I would say even a little bit higher, 80. So the volume's really pretty pathetic here. If we go out on like a weekly and we look at this thing on like macro analysis, we understand that, we don't have much price action above here, right? So what happens is in the no-fly zone, we can see that we are starting to put in quite a bit of volume into this area here, but there's pretty much piss bugger all until 81,000, guys. There's no real resistance. So if we get going, we could shoot up here quite fast, guys. Like, look at this volume. There's like this little like hobbit right here. And that's your 75 that's holding us down, and that's that 78 right there. So really, there's not a heck of a lot stopping us from going all the way back up to 80, which is exciting. So we could get ripping if we hold, see, like volume. But if we get acceptance back into this zone here, 70,000, we're looking to rotate to the bottom, right? Which brings us all the way back down to like 67, which we've talked about a million times here, and 63, right? That's our big levels, 67 and 63, right? However, we're on top of this thing right now. So can we rotate and get going? It's not for me to decide, but it's also for us to, plan for and trade. If this, then that, right? Jump on trend. I mean, we have a whole bunch of swing longs in our community from the lows here, but it's about what's going to happen in the next kind of couple of weeks. I would say 2 to 3 weeks into April. For now, it's patience, right? We're definitely doing the Bart Simpson right now. Acceptance back into the range. Mitigation of the low. 1 hour structure break, right? 1 hour structure breaks here. Right? So now we are looking for generally a lower high, and this could be corrective, right? Corrective meaning ABC, right? ABC in the place to be. Do we come down into here? Or does like this happen here and we hold, right? And then we get going and we expand up into Valhalla, right? Not for me to decide, but I know how to participate safely in this, right? Either way. We're in accumulation, guys. There's no major bullish catalysts. There's no money printing. There's no new Fed chair. There's no Clarity Act. There's extreme volatility and uncertainty because of the war. So our job is to take money and run, right? I mean, the short was given from here last night. We took advantage. We made money, and we continue to pay ourselves. If this, then that. Traders helping traders. I scalp. So for me, I understand the big picture. If I'm swing trading, I typically buy on spot, so I don't have to really worry about it too much. I have invalidation levels with alerts, and that's it. Right? We can see certain things running. Hyperliquid running. Aster having a little run, right? Aerodrome having a little run. Everything's getting beaten up today, though. Hype's still up. Look, Hype's still pumping, right? You got Aster still pumping. I call it Aster. We got Caspa pumping, right? So there's outliers. It's a bit of hopium, in my opinion. Consolidating at the highs here. We got 1 minute till the data comes out. Waiting. That's where we're at. Waiting, waiting, waiting. C'est la vie. SM and D grind. SM or D. SM or D. A D grind. I think I need a D grind. Give her the D. Follow through. Here we go. Data coming out. Good times, guys. Good times. Flat. Flat, flat, guys. Flat, flat, flat. Okay? Fed interest rate. No cuts. No hikes. No nothing. Okay? All right? We're flat. Flat since December, guys. Flat, flat, flat. Cut, cut, cut. And cut, cut. And now flat. Little push up here. Coming into the FOMC press conference.
The public and promote the health of our economy and the stability of our financial system.
Oh, this guy's
These
talking
key entities
shit.
are the Federal Reserve Board of Governors.
Look at this guy.
12 Federal Reserve
You know
banks.
he's the rookie, right? He'd rather be clicking buttons with AlexOCrypto. Let's be honest, man. No change. All right. No change. Little push up into our golden pocket here. Potential short. Potential short. I gave the long. I can't believe I didn't take the long with you guys. I gave it from here. Look, you guys are all rich, man. All the way up to VWAP. Put a 1 in the chat if you're still long. I seen you guys. You guys were long. Put a 2 in the chat if you're short. Put a 3 in your chat if you're sitting on your hands like me. In the place to be. That's where we're at. There's that rejection off the golden pocket, guys. Damn. Damn. Should have shorted it. Should have shorted it, man. I failed you. I shorted you. Breakdown. Push for NASDAQ. Push for SPY. No trade here. Still waiting. Thank you, everybody, for being here and supporting the channel and hanging out. We got 220 people in here. Welcome. Thank you. Up only. Up only coming through here. Retest back in. Okay. Rejection off golden pocket. Order block. Follow through. Continuation up. NASDAQ continuation up as well. Okay, half an hour till the Chair Powell starts opening up his gob. Nice recovery here, slowly and steadily. Thank you, everybody, for being on the live. Long, long, long. Long, long, long. Short on Sol. I want to learn the order blocks better. Do you have a video on the Discord? Or use AI? If you're in the Discord, C-Train, then there's a whole section on order blocks. Out of all 150 videos, you can go into your lessons here. And you can go to order blocks right here. And you got order block, 3, 4 videos on order blocks. I would suggest this one. Continuation up here. Nice push. Still waiting, gang. Let's go. No problem, bro. Nice little push here. Solana going. Holding that key support level. Tell me about support and resistance. Taking the liquidity out of the highs here. Sweep. Indecision here on NAS. Indecision. Solana trying to push back here. Looking good. So far, so good. Strengths. Longs are doing all right into our beautiful little rejection here. Key level. Waiting here, though. Hopefully everybody's having a beautiful day today. It's actually warming up here in Canada. It's actually nice. I think it's like 14 degrees Celsius, which is like shorts weather here. So beautiful. A nice scalp to the upside. Nice, Ross. Good job. I reached out on Twitter but got no reply. How do we fix this? You'd have to message me on X. Crash. You're probably banned. I don't know why, but you're probably banned. So we're quick to ban people. We have no time for bullshit. I'm not saying you did bullshit. I'm just saying we're quick to ban. So sometimes we get it wrong. We're only human. Nice, DJ. Good job. Glad to see you winning, bro. Andy's waiting as well. Trading is waiting. Perfect day here, Dusty. Let's go, man. You messaged me on X? Good. I'll have to go and check it then. I'm not a super busy guy. What's your name on X, bro? I don't see your message on X. Chats. Requests? Is it a request? Oh, shit. I haven't checked my requests in about 10 years. Holy shit. I better go through that. I might find you. Hello, do you want to work with BTC and GTG and XXX Exchange? We offer you the most exclusive deal where we rug your community. Hey, do you want to work with this guy? Yeah, a bunch of bullshit most of the time. The Crypto Sparky. Crash Dashash. Follow. I'll message you. How about that? Yo, my bro. All right? I just yo, my bro'd you, okay? Send me your Discord name. I'll check if you're banned. Chop at the top, guys. NASDAQ, tweezer top, looking weak. Chop at the top, looking weak. overextended Solana. Chop at the top as well. Level to level, looking here now. Jerome Powell in 20 minutes, everybody. I'm glad we gave the long idea down here. How much is this? This is almost a 1% move. That's pretty sexy. Mm-hmm. 72 virgins or 72 Bitcoin? I love scam calls. They're so much fun. I pull out the old Arnold soundboard, right? Say, who's your daddy? And what does he do? I'm a cop, you idiot. Stop whining.
Ah, oh. I'm a cop, you idiot.
Stop whining.
Stop being such a pussy. Stop being such a pussy. Fucking shot me. Just a scratch.
Oh, man. Good times.
Who is your daddy and what does he do? Just do it.
Press the button.
Do it now.
Okay, I'll stop. I'll stop. Having too much fun. Retest to previous highs. Continuation up here, guys. No trade. Rolling over NASDAQ. Order block retests. SPY rolling over as well. Coming into the FOMC meeting. Solana climbing back up here. Looking good. Bitcoin looking good as well. Trying to get through this golden pocket 786. Retest of orb. Nice long. Nice long, everybody. Could take its time here, though. Jerome Powell's coming up soon. Should be fun. We got 230 people in here. Thank you guys for being in here. 84 likes. Could I beat up J Powell? Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. I'd slap the shit out of him. He'd have no chance. Can you play Arnold's Pizza Shop? No, man. I get demonetized and all that garbage. We used to have like dance parties in here and everything. And then that ended. Because I just kept getting demonetized, which I don't make any money off of YouTube. Maybe $500 a month off of YouTube. I don't put on any ads or anything like that. But my channel gets flagged and it doesn't get as many views and all that shit, so I try to stay away from it now. Nice push up here, guys. Continuation. Rejection. I mean, warning sign tweezer top up here. Liquidity sweep. Cautious here. Still no trade. Showing the trades, taking the trades. You guys are all long, eh? You guys are all long. Leaving me behind. It's okay. No trade for me right now. I'll probably trade tonight, if anything. We'll see. Order block here. I think if we're pulling back, we're coming down here. Kind of deal. We'll see. Money flow, trigger wave to the downside. This is not the greatest look coming into FOMC. Still waiting here. Still waiting here. No cut. No hike. Flat. Jerome Powell. Flat, man. The flat man. He's the flat man.
I'm a cop, you idiot!
Oh, man.
Get to the chopper!
Get to the chopper. Good times. All right. Coming back down, retest into order block. NASDAQ dumping. Rejection here off a golden pocket. NASDAQ dumping, SPY's dumping. Oil's dumping. Weird. Order block retest, continuation up. Overextended. Trying to hold here. Still rolling over here on Biddy. I don't like it. Golden pocket rejection. NASDAQ bouncing. Solana still showing weakness here. Considering a long on Solana here potentially. Bitcoin's got to bounce. NASDAQ's got to bounce. Sweep and go. Be pretty cheap. It's got to bounce though. Be pretty cheap. NASDAQ bounce. Bitcoin push back. No trade yet. Still waiting here. No trade yet. Bitcoin looking to bounce. NASDAQ. SPY. Bounce. No. Push back here. Come on. Might need to come lower here. No trade yet. Still waiting. Jerome Powell in 12 minutes. 12 minutes JP, man. Let's just wait. Still waiting here. No pushback. No pushback here on Bitcoin either. Rotation down, golden pocket rejection. NASDAQ, no pushback. Solana coming into our buy level here, potentially. No reaction on Biddy here, rolling over. Pretty weak. Still no trade. 230 people in here, only 89 likes on my birthday. What? What are we doing here? I'm gonna go enjoy my birthday. That's all right. I'll forgive you guys today. Big rejection here. Big rejection here. Solana fully engulfing, coming back down into Jerome Powell. Into our support level right now. Can we bounce here? No bounce. No bueno. Bitcoin rolling over. Still waiting. If we can push back here, that would be ideal, but maybe this is sufficient. NASDAQ, no bounce. SPY, no bounce. Still waiting here. Like I said, looking here for Bitcoin, so we would need to push out of this block here first in order for me to consider a long. See if Solana would follow suit. Just weakness right now. No strength. No strength, no trade, right? No strength, no bounce, no trade. Still waits. NASDAQ. No follow through up. Bitcoin. Taking the lows, trying to push back here. We got Jerome Powell soon. Nothing yet on J Powell. 8 minutes till J Powell. It's been a while for J Powell. Birthday J Powell too. Birthday J Powell. Bitcoin needs to push back here. Big rollover after golden pocket. Solana. Yeah, looks weak. Solana looks weak. NASDAQ too. NASDAQ no pushback here. Needs to get going. Nothing yet. Biddy rolling over. Solana rolling over. Nothing yet. NASDAQ down. Solana down as well. J Powell be wearing a Trump tie? We'll see. I love this more than maple syrup. Absolutely. You're not fooling anybody. We'll see. I don't know, man. I could be golfing right now. No buyers stepping up here yet. Looking lower for Bitcoin. Golden pocket rejection coming back down, guys. Failure to push higher. Jerome Powell speaking in 6 minutes. Good times. Solana trying to find support here, not looking good. Little order block down below here if we really want to pick it apart. SFP of the high here, rotation back down. Higher high, higher low, swing low to swing high. Impulse move up, right? Golden pocket, 786 in here, potentially for a long. Flattening out all the way around. No trades. Still waiting here. Can we push? Chirper. Monetary policy. Blah, 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 blah. I got to work on my Chair Powell voice. I don't have a good Chair Powell voice. I don't have like that crispy, like Tom Crown Chair Powell voice. I can play the tunes though, guys. Choppy into the meeting. NASDAQ's got to push out of here. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Bitcoin trying to push back here. NASDAQ, let's go. Be free. All the way up to orb. Is he going to be late? We got 3 minutes. Just chilling, guys. NASDAQ's trying to push back right now. Can Bitcoin climb from here? All of that to just how demonetizing is this music? Is it all demonetizing? Probably is. Hopefully, some of you guys are still long from the lows. And we'll see where we get to. 230 people watching, 85 likes on the birthday stream. Hanging out here, hanging out with me. Thank you for being here, hanging out. Hopefully, you're all having a beautiful, beautiful day. Happy FOMC day. And hopefully, we can all crush it today and make lots of money. Hopefully, you're all up. Big dump this morning. Did a little bit of top-down analysis. And we'll see where we go. Looking for follow through to the upside up into, Orb and VWAP. We had a little rejection off of our golden pocket here. We'll see if it does want to continue to push up here. It's not sure. It's not sure. I'd like to see Solana push here. Holding critical support. Can it get going?
I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people. The U.S. economy has been expanding at a solid pace. While job gains have remained low, the unemployment rate has been little changed in recent months, and inflation remains somewhat elevated. Today, the FOMC decided to leave our policy rate unchanged. We see the current stance of monetary policy as appropriate to promote progress toward our maximum employment and 2% inflation goals. The implications of developments in the Middle East for the U.S. economy are uncertain. We will remain attentive to risks to both sides of our dual mandate. And I'll have more to say about monetary policy after briefly reviewing economic developments. Available indicators suggest that economic activity has been expanding at a solid pace.
Volume good.
Consumer spending has been resilient.
Volume check.
And business fixed investment has continued to expand. In contrast, activity in the housing sector has remained weak. In our summary of economic projections, the median participant projects that real GDP will rise 2.4% this year and 2.3% next year, somewhat stronger than projected in December.
Rotation
in the
down.
labor market, the unemployment rate was 4.4% in February and has changed little since late last summer. Job gains have remained low. A good part of the slowing in the pace of job growth over the past year reflects a decline in the growth of the labor force due to lower immigration and labor force participation, though labor demand has clearly softened as well. Other indicators, including job openings, layoffs, hiring, and nominal wage growth, generally show little change in recent months. In our SEP, the median projection of the unemployment rate is 4.4% at the end of this year and edges down thereafter.
Edging. He's into edging, guys.
Inflation has eased significantly from its highs in mid-2022, but remains somewhat elevated relative to our 2% longer-run goal. Estimates based on the Consumer Price Index and other data indicate that total PCE prices rose 2.8% over the 12 months ending in February, and that excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 3.0%.
Dumping.
These elevated readings largely reflect inflation in the goods sector, which has been boosted by the effects of tariffs.
Dumping. NASDAQ's dumping.
Near-term measures of inflation expectations have risen in recent weeks, likely reflecting the substantial rise in oil prices caused by the supply disruptions in the Middle East. Most measures of longer-term expectations remain consistent with our 2% inflation goal. The median projection in the SEP for total PCE inflation this year is 2.7% and 2.2% next year, a bit higher than projected in December. Our monetary policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. At today's meeting, the committee decided to maintain the target range for the federal funds rate at 3.5 to 3.75%. From last September through December, we lowered our policy rate 0.75 percentage point, bringing it within a range of plausible estimates of neutral. This normalization of our policy stance should continue to help stabilize the labor market while allowing inflation to resume its downward trend toward 2%. But the implications of events in the Middle East for the U.S. economy are uncertain. In the near term, higher energy prices will push up overall inflation, but it is too soon to know the scope and duration of the potential effects on the economy. We will continue to monitor the risks to both sides of our mandate. We are well positioned to determine the extent and timing of additional adjustments to our policy rate based on the incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. In our SEP, FOMC participants wrote down their individual assessments of an appropriate path of the federal funds rate under what each participant judges to be the most likely scenario for the economy. The median participant projects that the appropriate level of the federal funds rate will be 3.4% at the end of this year and 3.1% at the end of next year, unchanged from December. As is always the case, these individual forecasts are subject to uncertainty, and they are not a committee plan or decision. Monetary policy is not on a preset course, and we'll make our decisions on a meeting-by-meeting basis. To conclude, the Fed has been assigned two goals for monetary policy: maximum employment and stable prices. We remain committed to supporting maximum employment, bringing inflation sustainably to our 2% goal, and keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Our success in delivering on these goals matters to all Americans. We at the Fed will continue to do our jobs with objectivity, integrity, and a deep commitment to serve the American people.
Stop loss to entry.
And I look forward to your questions.
Thank you. Colby Smith of the New York Times. There's been some debate about whether the Fed should look through the inflation that will come from higher oil prices stemming from the Middle East conflict. Is that the right approach at this juncture? And to what extent does the fact that inflation has been above target for roughly 5 years now influence the committee's thinking around this?
Stop loss to entry.
So, first, let me say we're well aware of
up $50 here.
The performance of inflation over the last few years and how a series of shocks have interrupted progress that we've made over time.
Into our buy wall.
And that happened most recently with tariffs, and now there will be some effects on inflation coming forward. The thing that's really important that we see this year is progress on inflation through a reduction in goods inflation as the one-time effects on prices of tariffs go through the system, go through the economy. That's the main thing we're looking for going into this exercise.
Make money.
And we need to be seeing that to sort of understand that we actually are making progress, because on net we didn't make progress. And if you look at total total core inflation, it's about 3%, and some big chunk of that, between 1/2 and 3/4, is actually tariffs. So we're looking for progress on that.
Shut up, Jerome.
The question of whether we look through
sweep of the lows, bounce here into buy level
inflation
on
doesn't
Bitcoin
really arise until we have kind of checked that box.
It, of course, is kind of standard learning that you look through energy
shocks, but that's always been dependent on inflation expectations remaining well anchored. And I think now it's also dependent on what you mentioned, which is that broader context of 5 years now of inflation above target. We have to keep all of those things in mind, and the question of looking through when it does arise will be one to approach not lightly, but in the context that you mentioned.
And just on the SEP, can you help us make sense of why there is still a bias to cut for most officials this year, despite the upward revision to headline and core inflation and the essentially unchanged forecast for growth and unemployment? I'm just curious, kind of what's the genesis behind the need? What's the need for the shrinkage?
Yeah, so there are 19 people, and so 19 reasons, 19 individual submissions. And if you notice, the median didn't change, but there was actually some movement toward a meaningful amount of movement toward fewer cuts by people. So 4 or 5 people went from 2 to 1, let's say, 2 cuts to 1 cut.
NASDAQ rotating down, first move.
And each person has individual.
Here's our second move, guys. First move down.
Stories behind what they want to do. But essentially, it is that the forecast is that we will be making progress on inflation, not as much as we had hoped, but some progress on inflation. It should come as we start to see in the middle of the year progress on tariffs, going through once and then tariff inflation coming down. We should be seeing that. And the rate forecast is conditional on the performance of the economy. So if we don't see that progress, then you won't see the rate cut.
I'm still in it.
Howard Schneider with Reuters. It's just to follow up a little bit
Howard,
to be
with the
clear.
great hair. Give it up, buddy.
Is the higher
Just
inflation
shave it off, man.
penciled in here for 2026?
Put a 1 in the chat. If your hair looked like this, would you shave it?
Solely the result of the oil shock or something else?
Put a 1 in the chat. If your hair looked like Harold,
So that's
would you
going to be
shave
part
it?
of it. But, that
One.
wouldn't be
I would
most of
shave it.
core, right? So the oil shock for sure
It
shows
was
up
like
here.
Mr. Burns'
Some of that
ugly
will be
brother.
in core as well. But yes, but no, there's also just the
From
feeling
bald.
that we haven't seen, the progress that we had hoped for on core goods. And on tariffs and on the rest of it, so for whatever reason, people did write up their inflation forecast. That will certainly
Or
be
I'd
tied
like-
to
if I was Harold
events
and
in
this
the
is
Middle
me,
East and the price of oil. But
and
it's
I was
also,
only growing
I think, a
hair
reflection
here,
of
right?
the slow progress
And here,
we've seen on tariffs.
I would just
which
grow
we believe we
one
will
side
see.
really
It's
long,
just a question of how long it
right?
takes
And I'd
for
fold
them
it
to get all the
over.
way through the economy, and it just takes some
Right?
time.
And just,
And
I'd
is
shave
the-
this
is the
side, but
lack
I'd,
of
fold,
change
I'd
in the
grow this
steps,
side
again,
so
just to
long that I could
explicate this a
fold
little
it.
bit, more due to the expectation that
Then I'd
the
be
oil portion
a
of
happy
this
Harold.
will pass through.
Maybe
or
he's
more
working
out
on
of
that.
concern that there is a potential blow
He's got enough to fold over there.
consumption and growth
Why doesn't he
coming in
take
the
this
form
chunk
of wealth
here,
effects with
fold
the
it
stock
over?
market down, in the form of gas prices,
God bless you, Harold.
diverting spending from other parts of the economy.
So I didn't get the
Stopped
second
out.
part of your question.
The consumers are going
Stopped
to be
out.
potentially diverting money to
$100
gasoline
Yeah.
from other parts of the economy. There could be a growth shock or a redistribution of spending there. They can hit consumption, wealth effects as well. I guess I'm wondering, is the rate forecast not changing
Waiting
because
again.
you think the oil shock is going to be temporary, or because you want to be sure you're positioned
Waiting
in
again,
case
no
growth
pushback
starts to
here.
slow?
So the thing I really want to emphasize is that nobody knows. The economics effect could be bigger, they could be smaller, they could be much smaller or much bigger. We just don't know. So people are writing down something that seems to make sense to them, but have no conviction. To your point, if we have
Solana holding here at 89?
if we have a long period of much higher gas
90s,
prices, that's
man.
going to weigh on consumption. That'll weigh on disposable personal income, and it'll weigh on consumption. But we don't know if that's going to happen. Something
Poor
quite different
follow-through.
than that. We might have much lower than expected pass-through.
Hanging man and golfing
people write
candle
down,
printing right now?
This is one of those
gotta get
SEPs
going,
where a
though.
number of people mentioned if we were ever going to skip an SEP, this
got
would be a
20
good one
seconds
because
here.
we just don't know. So I wouldn't say there's a conviction that this is going to go through quickly or not quickly. It's just you got to write something down, and this is something that is
Jerome Powell
that
doesn't
people
even know
wrote
how to
down.
do his job.
And
That's what he's saying.
so, and we don't debate how long. How do you do that? We
You
wouldn't be
master
able to
debate.
debate
You wait there all
what the
day.
length of or
Cut rates,
size of these
man.
effects would be. We just have to kind of make an individual statement. And you also, what you've written down before you'll be reluctant to move too far away from that just because you don't know. It's so unclear what the direction from this particular end will be. Meanwhile, the growth has been solid, and inflation, the overshoot is mainly from the goods and tariffs. And, the labor market is, the unemployment rate, of course, is little changed since September. You have a very, very low break-even rate, apparently, for new jobs with little growth in either demand or supply. But the U.S. economy is doing pretty well. It's just we don't know what the effects of this will be, and really no one does.
Steve.
Okay, that was a
Mr. Chair,
big
in the
word
past, the
salad.
staff has suggested that higher oil
How
prices.
are we all feeling here? Bullish, bearish?
They have a
You
hit
guys
to
gotta tell
consumption,
me
which
here.
Howard was talking
Let's
about.
do a poll.
But that's somewhat offset by increases to domestic production. I wonder if you could talk about that dynamic, especially to the extent that how much U.S. production is happening right now.
So the first thing is
I
there
think we
is
could push here.
the original thinking, the long-standing thinking, put it that way, is that you do look through energy shocks. But as I mentioned, that's conditioned on inflation expectations and that kind of thing. So, sorry, your question was?
Trigger
What
wave
the
to the
staff is saying
downside
about,
here.
and has said in the past.
Balloon dog?
So there'd be an offset.
Continuation
offsets, yeah.
trade?
So that's true. We have we're a net exporter of energy, right? So any effects on employment and economic activity and spending would be offset to some extent by the fact that our oil companies will be more profitable and they may even do more drilling. If you ask oil companies about doing more drilling, though, they're going to want to see, a consistent rise in oil prices from where they were before the buildup
Drill,
for the
baby,
war.
drill.
and they're going to want to believe that that's going to be persistent for a fairly long time. So they're not sitting there waiting for oil to go over $70 a barrel, and then they're going to start drilling or whatever. They're going to make a reasoned, careful judgment that we're going to have higher oil prices for an extended period, meaningfully higher.
Bounce on oil.
So I wouldn't say there's much of that happening.
Down for
not
stock
much
market
will be
generally?
happening now, but some of that could happen over time if you see that. But
no trade.
So
one trade, $100 so far, guys.
The net of the oil shock will still be some downward pressure on spending and employment.
Thank you for being here and supporting the channel.
Inflation, of course.
If you're new here, we're live every morning, taking trades live.
How much do you worry that having looked through tariff inflation and
Thank you for
inflation
supporting the channel. Come and hang out in the
and
morning.
looking through the oil price shock would undermine the credibility of your commitment to the 2% target?
We have to do our analysis and think these things through carefully, but of course that's on everyone's mind. We're well aware of the history, but you don't want to overreact to that. You want to make the best judgment you can based on the facts. I don't think we're going to let it color our decision making more than is appropriate. It's more the thought that it's been 5 years, and we've actually had we had the tariff shock, we had the pandemic, and now we have an energy shock of some size and duration. We don't know what that's going to be actually, and it's one of those things where it's a repeated set of things, and you worry that that's the kind of thing that can can cause trouble for inflation expectations, and so we worry a lot about that, and we are very strongly committed to doing what it takes to keep inflation expectations anchored at 2%. And I think it's important that we do that. Very important.
Nick.
We need oil to drive the food. We need oil to deliver the products.
Nick Tamaros, The Wall Street Journal. Chair Powell, you've described monetary policy as modestly restrictive. If the unemployment rate is roughly stable, inflation moving sideways in the high twos, with an ongoing overshoot in services and non-housing services, not just goods, and the economy
you can tell the way that
well,
people hold the microphone.
What gives you confidence that inflation returns to target over the next couple of years?
Okay. So I would say the rate is, you can characterize it as in the high end of neutral, or you can characterize it as perhaps mildly restrictive, even modestly restrictive. No one knows for sure, but it's in that range where it's somewhere around the borderline between restrictive and not. Remember that a big part of the disinflation we're looking for is just the runoff of when tariffs are put into place. Of course, what they do is they raise prices to some extent, to the extent those prices the tariffs are paid by consumers on a one-time basis, and we're waiting for that process. It takes 8, 9, 10, 11 months a year to go through the system, and we're waiting for the tariffs, which were put in place over the course of the middle part and later last year. We're waiting for that to go through the system, so that goods inflation will return closer to what it's always been. I mean, it used to be for many years it was negative, and then the year before tariffs came in, it was 0. And it's running at like 2% now. So, and so that's kind of goods inflation is running at 2%. So that's not coming from standard Phillips curve restrictive, restrictive policy. It's coming from
I still like to move up to
runoff of a
here,
one-time thing. We also think it's important, though, to keep
Put a 1
policy
in the chat
either
if you
mildly
longed
restrictive or close to that, but not too restrictive because of the weakness in the downside risk in the labor market. We are balancing these two goals in a situation where the risks to the labor market are to the downside, which would call for lower rates, and the risks to inflation are to the upside, which would call for higher rates or not cutting anyway. So we're in a difficult situation, and we feel like our framework calls on us to balance the risks, and we feel like where we are now, which is kind of on that borderline, the higher borderline.
He's never been in a schlong trade his entire life, Jojo.
Not restrictive. We feel like that's the right place to be.
Can I ask about core non-housing services, though? Because there are some people who think that it hasn't come down very much, if at all, over the past year. If wage growth has come down, if the labor market has loosened, why has non-housing services inflation maybe been slower to follow?
Look at him.
That's a good question.
This thing, man. He has a wedding ring on.
It's frustrating. Non-housing services they basically moved sideways for a year. They're at the same level, and we do expect that they will come down. But it's a bunch of idiosyncratic things. But at the same time, that is one of the things we should be be
Trade your
seen, because
micros,
to your point, the labor market is clearly not a
I
source
do
of
expect you
inflationary
guys to like
pressures,
the
and that
stream,
should
guys.
really
It's my
matter for
freaking birthday
non-housing
today, and I'm
services.
streaming.
But we're not seeing progress there. So we do, what we expect for next year is what we want to see for this year, rather, is continued progress on housing services, finally seeing that, the goods inflation come back down because the one-time effects of tariffs are through, and then also get some help from non-housing services. That's what we'd like to see.
Are you guys going to
But
sing
it's,
to me
it's
or
a
what?
good question why we
Start
didn't see
singing.
much of that last year.
Edward.
Thanks, Chair Powell. Edward Lawrence with Fox Business. So in December, we saw employment numbers revised down to negative 17,000. January revised down. February posted a loss of 92,000. Is the employment side a far greater risk than the inflation side? Because we are seeing inflation. CPI is close to 2%. PCE has ticked down overall.
Down. Oil's spiking.
It's really, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say
Down,
that's
down,
clear at all. That one is
down.
more at risk than
First
the other.
move, Discord.
So you can point to the unemployment
First
rate
move.
being stable, and in a world where both supply and demand for workers have come down very, very sharply over the course of the past year due to immigration policy largely, a ratio is going to be a better thing to look at than job creation, for example. So, and the ratio is
Imagine
the
naming
unemployment
your
rate,
kid
and it's been
Horatio.
stable since September. So that tells you that. Inflation, you can. We're at 3.0% core. Inflation 2.8% headline, so we've been well above the 2%.
Thanks, Wayne. Hopefully you got a nice sandwich today, Wayne.
0.7, 0.8. We're
Put a 2 in the chat if you're short.
2% for some time, and that's a concern. We need to get back down to 2%.
Thank you, Balds.
And we need to keep focused on that, even though we do now face some new inflation from energy. So I'd be hard pressed to say that one of them is obviously more at risk than the other.
And if I may, what happens if there's no Federal Reserve chairman confirmed on May 15th? Would you stay on?
So if my successor is not confirmed by the end of my term as chair, I would serve as chair pro tem until he is confirmed. That is what the law calls for. That's what we've done on several occasions, including involving me, and it's what we're going to do in this situation. And while I'm at it, on the question whether I will leave while the investigation is ongoing, I have no intention of leaving the board until the investigation is well and truly over, with transparency and finality. And I would refer you to the statement that was in the Fed's brief that you will all have seen, and I won't have anything more for you on that. On the question of whether I will then continue to serve as a governor after my term ends and after the investigation is over, I have not made that decision yet.
He's like, I'm
and I will make that decision based on what I think
Nice
is best
pushback
for
here,
the
Doji
institution and
engulfing
for the people we serve.
on Solana.
Figuring you probably were going to set the dominoes off there, Edward. And I'm not going to have any more to say on those issues, by the way.
Oh, give him the
Thank you very
microphone.
much. Claire Jones from the Financial Times.
Oh, it's the Irish lady. I like her. She's
People have
good.
drawn quite a few historical parallels with the current situation. We've seen oil price shocks in the past. Some people have said the first Gulf War and the Fed's response to that, where there was a focus on the growth risks, is the right parallel. To what extent would you agree with that, and to what extent do you think we're in a different place today? Thank you.
It's really hard to say until we see the situation, the actual situation. In some circumstances, that might be the right case. In fact, for example, if we do see the kinds of disinflationary progress that we expect to see due to tariffs that I mentioned, I think it's hard to say, and it will depend to some extent on the size and duration of the effects we're seeing on prices, and it will depend a lot on what we can see in inflation expectations.
And just one follow-up, if I may, just on the BLS report that was mentioned briefly there. It doesn't seem from the projections
nice shorts,
or from
everybody.
the comments you've
Good
made
job,
today
Discord.
about the unemployment rate and focusing on that your view on the labour market story, to a large part being a supply-side story, has changed despite the quite negative number in February. Would that be the right take, and was there anyone else in the room who thought differently, and that the February jobs report
She's
was
from the northwest of England.
Concern?
There you go.
So I think you have to take the two together.
I'm not British.
In a way, the January report was a positive surprise, and the February report was a negative surprise. If you put them together,
Buy
you
NASDAQ.
get something in the middle, and I think you have to really, as you do,
Buy
I'm sure
SPY.
realize there was a strike and there was weather, and that's about
Buy
80,000
Bitcoin.
of the negative effect total on the February report. Notwithstanding that, so what do you see if you take a step back overall? There are a number of indicators that suggest a degree of stability, but the thing that I think good number of people on the committee are concerned about is just the very, very low level of job creation. If you adjust what has been the trend job creation over the past, let's say, 6 months, if you adjust that for what we think, our staff thinks, is the overstatement due to overcounting, effectively there's zero net job creation in the private sector. But actually that looks like that's about what the economy needs.
Good
in
thing we
terms
got out of that long,
dealing
man.
with very, very low, non-existent really, growth in the labor force, which of course we've never had in our history. So you've got a sort of a zero employment
Buy
growth
Bitcoin.
equilibrium. Now that's balance, okay, but I would say it does have a feel of downside risk, and it's not kind of a really comfortable balance. So we look at that, we see it, we get it, and I mean everybody understands the
looking for the
arithmetic,
sweep,
and
guys.
that's you can say the break even is zero, but nonetheless it's something we're watching carefully.
Golden
and
pocket rejection,
and
guys.
We're concerned about, but ultimately though, you can argue that it's
Good job on the shorts,
consequence of
everybody.
deliberate policy, which is really the changes to immigration. That's the biggest factor there, and but nonetheless something we watch carefully.
Andrew.
Thanks, Chair Powell. The economy's experienced a series of supply shocks in the last few years, COVID, tariffs, 2 oil price shocks. Do you think that is bad luck, or has something changed in the world that makes supply shocks more common, and does the central bank need to start taking account of the risk of supply shocks as a more common problem?
We did go through a long period.
Well, we got a
the
relief
shocks were all
rally
demand shocks.
into the FOMC, and then we got a
so
dump.
we've had a lot of practice thinking about supply shocks in the last 4 or 5 years for sure.
NASDAQ
it's just a
trying to
very
find
different
support
thing,
here.
and a very much more difficult thing, because it does immediately raise the question of
SPY
tension
as
between
well.
the 2 parts of our
A little bit of a pushback here.
But
Oil
has the
still
world changed? I
spiked,
mean,
staying flat.
COVID is a one-time thing, right? This energy supply shock is a one-time thing. It's not because of some broad tendency or anything, I don't think. And
Down we go.
The oil shock
Geronimo.
with Ukraine was also a consequence of military action. So I don't know that the world has changed in a way that there'll be more supply shocks. But there's people have written that paper and that speech a number of times. A number of people have tried to make the case that is the case.
Down we go.
In fact, we have seen more supply shocks in the last 5 years
Congratulations
than
on
we've
your
seen
shorts,
in many
Discord.
years before that. It's a fact.
We identified the tell.
You said last year that the Fed
This
was
was the
reviewing
tell.
its communication strategies,
This was
including
the
the
liquidity
SEP as
hunt,
part of its
and this was
framework
the rug.
review. Whatever happened
Okay.
to that? And
1, 2, 3, guys.
I have like 5 follow-ups to that, but I guess
what do we get?
What would you change about Fed communications if you had the time? Thanks.
What happened about that was not much.
Good trade,
and I'll tell you
everybody.
why. So, we looked carefully at many aspects of the SEP and of our communications, and there weren't any ideas that had very broad support on the committee. And you don't want to make a change to your communications unless you have the committee
Still
behind
no
that.
trade,
So
guys.
we
Took
didn't
one
really
trade.
make any changes on that.
Quick hundo.
I had hoped that
Now we
there
wait.
some things that I wanted to do, but they didn't attract broad support, and we'd already made all the changes we made to the framework. That was a critical thing. So we didn't. And, I wish we had been able to do some things, but we didn't. So maybe the next chair will take a look. I'm sure he will.
Michael McKee from Bloomberg Television and Radio. The minutes show in January some members of the committee wanted to include a two-sided guidance on policy. Was that discussed today? And given the rise in the inflation expectations, how much support for a two-sided policy warning would there be?
So it did come up today. The policy that the possibility rather that
Bye,
our next
Solana.
move might be an increase
Head and
did come up at the
shoulders.
meeting, as it did at the last meeting.
A mini head and
The
shoulders
vast
here
majority of
breaking down.
participants don't see that as their base case, and of course we don't take things off the table. But you
NASDAQ
correctly
continues to bleed
characterized, what was in the minutes that several participants indicated, and something
Just like
very
this
much
morning.
like that conversation did happen. What was your second question, though?
I was just one question there, but follow-up would be, there are a lot of goods besides oil that are trapped in the Strait right now, and a lot of supply chains getting snarled. How much concern do you have about whether, if this becomes an inflation problem beyond just oil, whether there's anything you can do about it or would do about it?
Short on SOL from 90? Nice.
The efficacies of monetary
Up
policy.
in here? Good short.
You can
rotate
worry
down to
about
the
other
lows here,
commodities.
liquidity.
You can worry about all of the ways that oil-related commodities go into manufacturing and that kind of thing. The truth is it's completely out of our hands, and we just, like everybody else, we have to just wait and see what happens, and it'll come down to how long the
Looking for
current
the sweep on
situation
Bitcoin.
lasts, and then what are the effects on prices, and then how do
Trigger wave
consumers
at the
react,
highs,
and that kind of thing.
golden
Really,
pocket given in advance.
I wouldn't speculate in any way, and there's really
Looking
not
for
a lot we
something
can
like
do
this.
other than kind of watch and
Longs
see.
are here.
Maria Luisa.
Afternoon, Chair Powell. Maria Luisa Capurro with Bloomberg News. I wanted to
Hello.
ask you said longer-term measures of inflation expectations reflect
Maria
confidence that the
Luisa
Fed will get back to its 2% goal. But there are some colleagues of yours who have pointed to higher dispersion in household service, in business services as well. So, and that they take as a signal that inflation expectations may be less sticky than in the past. I'm wondering if there was a discussion around that at this meeting across the committee, and what were the views of what is the state of inflation expectations and the
Support
risks
here?
from higher oil and
Liquidity
gas
hasn't been
prices.
taken, so retracement
At this
continuation down,
meeting,
in my opinion.
I mean, a number of people mentioned and staff briefed on
Order
short-term
block holding for
expectations having moved
Solana.
up quite a lot for reasons we understand well.
Golden
But
pocket
long-term
order
expectations, you can always find
Not
one
convinced yet,
that's
though.
troubling or some aspect of one that's troubling,
NASDAQ
but
trying to
ultimately,
trying to
right
hold on
through
for
this
dear
whole
life here.
period,
Same with the SPY.
the overwhelming majority of the things we look to, including markets, including surveys of the public and also
1 minute
of,
block in here?
of
Yeah, it's up here, though.
forecasters, they've all been pretty solid on longer-term inflation expectations being right where they need to be, consistent with 2%. So that continues to be the case.
This
We
is
didn't-
bottoming
we didn't have
structure,
a lot
however,
of conversation about that. I think
we're
everyone
in
does
news
agree
data right now, so-
that we'll be watching those extremely carefully as we see
watching what this guy
the
says.
effects
Retest
of
previous
the
lows
price
here,
increases
rejection
come
down,
through from the
potentially.
conflict.
And
Right.
still on
Push
how
back,
the discussion
retest.
went across the committee, before coming to this meeting, there were some members who were discussing the risks of a slowdown in growth, and at a time of where inflation remains high. It really doesn't seem that most members are penciling in a slowdown in growth.
No.
But has there been any discussion of the risks of stagflation
NASDAQ
at this
pushback
point?
continuation
So
down.
people actually wrote up their growth forecast by a tenth, and I think that's probably to do with just growing confidence
Pushback on Bitcoin here?
productivity. But sorry, and your second question was just
If there have been any discussions about the risk of stagflation scenario.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, there's tension between the two goals, right? The upward risk for inflation and
Nice little
downward risk
pushback
for
here for
employment.
Solana,
So, and that
Bitcoin
puts us in a
as
different
well.
situation.
Potential V-shaped
when we
recovery,
use the
but
term
coming into resistance
stagflation,
right
I
now.
always
We'll
have
see
to
how it
point out
goes.
that was a 1970s term at a time when unemployment was in double figures and inflation was really high and the misery index was super high. Add them together, you get the misery index. And that's not the case right now. We actually have unemployment really close to longer run normal, and we have inflation
Could be
that's
considering a
1
short here.
percentage point above that. So calling that stagflation, it's not.
Need to
I
see
would reserve the term
NASDAQ get
stagflation
rejected
for
here, really.
a much more serious set of circumstances. That is not the
Biddy.
situation we're in. What we have is some tension between the goals, and we're trying to manage our way through it. It's a very difficult situation, but it's nothing like what they faced in the 1970s, and I reserve stagflation
Bitcoin
for
bouncing.
the word for that period. Maybe that's just
NASDAQ
me.
bouncing.
Elizabeth. Thanks so much. Elizabeth Schulze with ABC News. President Trump says that oil prices and overall inflation will go down very rapidly as soon as the war ends. Do you agree with that?
I don't have a forecast on that.
When we're thinking about the impact on American households, as you know, they've been facing these higher prices for years. They've seen an almost $1 increase in gas. How worried are you about households, especially lower income families, being able to afford those price hikes?
Look at this.
And should people be bracing for higher costs, including for food now?
We don't know how big these effects are going to be, and I don't want to characterize them in any way. Of course, people are already seeing gas prices. Gas prices are up almost $1 a gallon. We hope that isn't for a long period of time, and of course people will feel that, but I don't want to speculate about what that might mean, because honestly that would sound like I have some idea of what's actually going to happen, and I don't think anybody really does. We're going to see how this works out.
Push back here.
And I just would leave it at that.
Victoria. Hi, Victoria Guido with Politico. I just wanted to ask, for purposes of the next meeting, how the Middle East war develops between now and then, how are you thinking about what might guide action at your next meeting? I mean, if we have oil prices, above $100 a barrel the entire time until the next meeting, is that going to change your wait and see stance?
Jojo.
Like, what would lead you all to move, or are you on hold pretty indefinitely?
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, we always say we're going to learn more by the next meeting, and usually we do, but in this case we're going to learn a lot, because we're going to learn 6 weeks to the day till the next meeting, and we're going to see whether what happens is it's going to be very important for the way the economy looks and the way the outlook evolves with what happens in the Middle East. That's going to be a big factor, and we'll know that then. I don't know how it's going to affect our thinking. I really don't. And we did talk about alternative scenarios a little bit, but it's just, I wouldn't bring that in here.
NASDAQ bouncing here, pretty good, guys.
And I just want to
same with the SPY.
Just remember that we don't know, and we shouldn't assume it's going to be one thing or another. We're going to see.
So is it a matter of you don't know how the situation itself is going to evolve, or even if things remain as they are, the economy could still remain relatively durable in face of them?
Yeah, that's true too. No, I mean, the U.S. economy has just
potential pushback here.
Made it's been
I
strong
don't like this
through
low that much though.
A whole bunch of challenges. I mean, if you go back to 2023 when we raised rates a lot,
oil
in 22 and 23, and close to 100% of economists called for a recession, which didn't
Solana
happen.
reclaim of range.
2023 was a really strong year. So the U.S. economy has really been just doing pretty well through a lot of significant challenges over the past few years. It's been amazing to see. And I don't know what's going to happen in the next intermeeting cycle, and I don't know what's going to happen in the Middle East. I wouldn't want to speculate.
NASDAQ's got to continue.
Hi, Chair Powell. Thanks for taking our questions. What makes you so certain that tariff-related price increases will be a one-time effect? I don't think we've seen you since the Supreme Court tariff decision, and it's pretty clear that none of us know what the extent of the tariff shock will be as the administration moves to replace some of the tariffs that were overturned. So I suppose I'm curious, what would make you question this certainty that tariffs are going to be a one-time price effect?
Well, I would not at all use the word certain about my views on that. I'm not certain. I'm uncertain. But just if you think about what it is, it's a one-time increase in the price of a good, right? And what inflation is ongoing increases in prices this year, next year, the year after. That's what inflation is. It's not a one-time price increase. There's a very big difference. The public doesn't really focus on that, but that's the difference. And tariffs should be in theory, unless they cause people to start expecting still more tariffs the next year and still more tariffs the next year, they should be a classic one-time thing. People say the same thing traditionally about an energy price spike, because traditionally prices go up and they come back down.
What price action
and by the
is
time
this for my
monetary policy
birthday?
would react, you would.
I thought we were going to have fun today.
So I don't have tons of confidence on that. I mean, I think that the theory is probably right, but as usual, the time it takes to get all the way through the economy is just very uncertain. And we found that coming out of COVID, that the inflation did go away, and largely for the reasons we thought it would. But it took 2 years longer than we thought. and
V-shaped recovery all the way
I think
back
we have to
to
be humble about knowing how long it will
Solana.
take for tariffs to go all the way through the economy. And so what we've been doing is our staff's been doing, it's very interesting. They started off with just an estimate because there wasn't a real history. And then they've built, based on the history that they're seeing of tariffs coming through into prices, they can now have an arc. And for all the tariffs,
get a
they can say,
recovery
well,
on the SPY,
so we have, I think, a slightly more
Could be
confidence
okay.
that we will see tariff inflation coming down, not prices, but you won't see further increases, and we should start seeing that more and more in the middle parts of the year.
Painful.
We do expect that.
Pure painful.
Now, you're also right, though, that the level of tariffs came down fairly meaningfully in the wake of the court decision. But the administration said they're going to get that rate right back up to where it was. So, and we assume that they'll do that
It's like
over
a
time.
word salad today,
So,
guys. I've never heard him
that's how we
so
think
like
about it.
uncertain and like mumbo jumbo. Jerome Popo.
Hi, thank you. Chris Ruge,
Thanks for resistance here
Associated Press.
on
I
Bitcoin.
wanted,
Trying to
you
push.
talked about the shortcomings of the SCP in this environment. I wanted to ask about, or throw in an additional thing, which is the fact that it's happening before transition. Is there still some value, perhaps, in the public knowing what other Fed officials are thinking, the ones who will stay on for the rest of the year and beyond? And does that even handicap your successor in any way? Well, just in terms of having a whole committee expressing its views, is that something that locks them in for the rest of the year?
Put a one in the chat if you're bored
The
shitless.
SEP is never. People are more than happy to change their SEP dots. They're no way bound by them. It's your opinion at a moment in time, which can change based on events. Sometimes very quickly. So it never locks people in. People are more than happy to be proven wrong in either direction. And so I just think we do it. And, I mentioned this was a time when it's very hard to do it.
The price moves
During
better
the
when he's not
pandemic,
even
we actually
talking.
took one meeting off, I think. But we don't like to do that just because it's hard to do.
What the hell
We should
does
just
Tom
keep
Crown
doing it.
talk about when it's this boring?
I just would say for this one, though, I think it's
Jason
more
in
than,
any trades?
even more than usual good to take the forecast with a grain of salt because subject to just very high levels of uncertainty.
Jason. No. I mean, he's short from
Hi, Chair Powell. Brian
the
Chung
top
with NBC News.
from the morning,
So you mentioned at the beginning of this conversation that
Where's
you're
he short
well aware of the
from? Up
history
here?
of inflation running above target. It seems like that might be what's underpinning the affordability problem that we're hearing a lot about on Main Street. Are there any
All right.
signs to you that that's impacting the psychology of the consumer,
Tom
especially
Crown
given
anywhere?
that
What's
they're
Tom
a big
Crown
driver
saying?
of overall economic activity?
I'm not sure what
Tom
that's
is
all
having
about, but
such a
I'll
good
tell
time.
you
Look at
what
how-
I think and what we see in surveys, and that is, there were big price increases.
Tom is having so much fun.
All around
This
the
is
world, by the
exactly
way, everywhere.
how
in-
I feel too,
in
Tom.
Countries like the United States had basically the same kind of thing. It was a global inflation coming out of the pandemic, and everywhere people are feeling like
I
they,
get this.
real wages
I
have been going up in
understand
the
how
United
you
States now
feel
for
right
3
now,
years,
Tom.
roughly.
I feel the same way, bro.
But people are not feeling they're not feeling good about it yet, and it will take some years of positive, real earning gains for people to feel good again, we think. But you're right. But when you talk to people, they do feel squeezed, and there are areas where prices are still going up, like insurance. Various different kinds of insurance are getting more and more expensive, and that's just catching up really from inflationary pressures that take a while to get to into the price. So we take it very seriously. We don't dismiss it at all. It's a very real thing from the standpoint of what people are experiencing, and what it does for us is, makes us even more committed, if that's possible, to getting inflation back to 2% on a sustained basis.
How does the Fed's independence play into the ability?
All right, this is horrible. I'm not doing this on my birthday. Guys, I'm going to send you over to Tom Crown. Discord, I'll have an update for you guys. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys in the morning. God bless you. I'm going to go and enjoy my birthday. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to send you over to Tom Crown. Go and throw some otters in his chat. Thank you so much for being here and supporting the channel. One trade today, quick little scalp. I'll have an update for the Discord later on. Take care, much love, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye.
On the come up, better sit low. The product base, better drip though. Pocket fat when the chips low. AlexOCrypto, fit the party like a disco. Fan base like my wallet, yo. Stay true to the